Let's be real, this was the moment fans never thought they'd see. For years, Martell Holt has managed to keep control of the narrative, spinning his image as a loving father, a misunderstood man, and the victim of a messy divorce. But when the cameras started rolling this time, the truth came from the mouths of the people he thought would stay silent the longest, his own kids. And once those words were out, there was no going back. The mask slipped, the polished act crumbled, and the world got a rare glimpse of what life inside the Holt family has really been like. What makes this moment so shocking isn't just what was said, it's who said it. These weren't bloggers speculating. These weren't exes spilling tea. This was raw, unfiltered honesty from children who've lived the story every single day. They didn't come with rehearsed lines or adult agendas. They spoke with the kind of innocence that cuts deeper than any scandal headline. And for Martell, it was devastating. Because when the people you've spent years trying to control start telling their truth, no amount of charm or denial can erase it. But to really understand why this moment hit so hard, we need to rewind. Martell has always played the long game when it comes to perception. On Love and Marriage, Huntsville, he built his brand on charisma. Even when his affair with Ariane Curry came to light, even when his marriage with Melody collapsed on national TV, he always had a way of pulling people back in. He'd flash that smile, drop Bible verses, and lean on his role as a father to soften the blow of his mistakes. For a while, it worked. Some fans defended him, convinced that beneath the scandals, he was just a man fighting for his family. But as the years went on, cracks began to show. Behind the public charm, court documents painted a different picture. Missed requirements. Ignored therapy orders. Repeated attempts to drag Melody back into court while failing to meet his own obligations. And while he projected the image of being hands-on with his kids, insiders whispered that the effort wasn't equal. He showcased time with his son by Ariane but grew strangely quiet when it came to Melody's children. Fans noticed. Questions grew louder. And then came the guilty pleas, first harassment, then domestic violence. Suddenly, the mask of the devoted father began to blur. Still, Martell kept trying to spin it. He clung to live streams, cryptic posts, and interviews where he painted himself as the misunderstood one. For some, it worked. But the kids? They saw everything. That's what makes their words so cutting. Because children don't care about spin. They know who shows up at the end of the day. They know who listens, who cares, and who disappears. And when they finally spoke on camera, it was like pulling the curtain back on years of silence. The stories weren't wild accusations. They were simple, human truth statements that showed confusion, disappointment, even pain. And in those moments, Martell's entire image collapsed. Because how can you argue with your own child's lived reality? Fans who watched the scene unfold were stunned. Social media exploded with reactions. Some were heartbroken, others furious. But most agreed it was the first time Martell's carefully crafted image had truly been exposed in a way he couldn't recover from. No amount of gym selfies or motivational captions could erase what the kids revealed. And that's where the story takes its darkest turn. Because what nobody expected was how much this revelation would shake not just Martell, but the entire Holt family dynamic. For Melody, the moment was bittersweet. On one hand, it was heartbreaking to hear her children express things no mother wants them to carry. On the other, it was validation, proof that the years she spent fighting to shield them weren't in vain. Fans rallied around her, praising her strength and her commitment to breaking generational cycles of pain. They called her the steady parent, the one who kept showing up even when the storm never seemed to end. But for Martell, the fallout is only beginning. The custody battle looming in court now feels heavier than ever. Judges don't just read legal filings, they look at patterns, they pay attention to behavior, and yes, they listen to the children. With every ignored order, every guilty plea, every cryptic post, Martell has been writing his own story. And now, with the kids' words adding another chapter, the conclusion feels dangerously close. This isn't just about losing control of the narrative anymore. It's about losing the very thing he claimed to fight for his family. And that's where the emotional weight of this moment lands. Because at its core, this isn't just a story about drama or reality TV scandals. It's a story about children finding their voice in the middle of chaos. It's about truth cutting through years of performance. And it's about a father who underestimated the one thing he couldn't control: the honesty of his kids. As October's custody trial approaches, one thing is clear: Martell Holt can no longer hide behind charm, quotes, or denial. His actions have spoken, the courts have spoken, and now his children have spoken. And when the people closest to you expose the truth, the world has no choice but to listen. The real question now is simple: will Martell finally face himself, or will he keep running until there's nothing left to lose? The truth has already caught up to him, and this time it didn't come from blogs, court filings, or bitter exes. It came from his own children. Their words carry more weight than any storyline, because they come from a place of lived reality. And once that truth is out, there's no way to silence it, no way to dress it up, no way to erase it. The image Martell worked so hard to protect has been shattered by the very people he once believed would never speak against him. Now, the world is watching closely. The courts are listening. And most importantly, the kids have finally been heard. For Melody, it's a reminder that her fight has always been worth it, that protecting her children and building a safe future for them was the right path, no matter how exhausting it became. For Martell, it's a warning. Because when your children expose who you really are, the world doesn't forget, and redemption becomes much harder to reach. So as the custody trial draws near, one question remains: will Martell finally face the man in the mirror and change, or will he continue down the same path until everything he once claimed to value is gone? Whatever happens, one thing is certain: his children's voices have rewritten the story, and nothing will ever be the same again. The truth has already been spoken, and this time it came from the one place Martell never expected: his own children. Their words stripped away the last layer of his carefully built image, leaving only the reality that's been hidden for far too long. This wasn't gossip, and it wasn't speculation. It was the raw honesty of kids who have lived through the chaos, who know what's been real and what's been performance. And once that truth is out, there's no going back. The damage is done. The mask has fallen. For Melody, the moment was bittersweet. Painful, yes, because no mother wants to hear her children express disappointment in their father. But also validating, because it proved that her years of fighting, protecting, and standing strong were never in vain. She refused to let lies overshadow her children's well-being, and now their voices have become the evidence that speaks louder than anything she could have said. It showed the world why she never gave up and why she continues to carry the weight of stability when the storm seems never ending. For Martell, this is a crossroads. Courts don't just rely on paperwork, they watch patterns, they measure actions, and they listen to the children. His history of missed obligations, ignored orders, and guilty pleas has already spoken volumes. Now, his children's words have only magnified the truth. He can no longer lean on his charm, his smile, or his social media posts to cover what's been exposed. Redemption is still possible, but it will take more than empty promises. It will take accountability, humility, and change. Without that, the risk is clear: he may lose not only control of the narrative, but also the very relationships he claims to value most. As the custody trial looms, one question hovers in the air: will Martell finally confront himself, or will he keep running from the truth until there's nothing left to salvage? Whatever happens, one fact remains: his children's voices cannot be erased, and their honesty has already reshaped the story. The world has listened, and now so must he. Because at the end of it all, reputations fade, fame disappears, and excuses lose power. But the words of your children? They echo forever. And that echo will be the legacy Martell cannot outrun.